A day 3 reflection reveals the emergence of characters.
Yes.
Phil Mater.
Where are you a farmer at?
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
You know that side?
Oliver Gill.
What are you doing? Why are you playing with Capital? You know how often I flop amazing things. Pew, pew, pew.
Mark Kroon.
Why do you want to play against the best player when you can play against all these other guys? Sorry, other guys.
Big names on the move.
I gotta keep you out of my way.
Even.
Yeah.
And fallen stars.
Wow, I had the worst hand when it went in. That's shocking.
The immediate task for the 861 remaining competitors is to reach the money on day 4, but first they must finish day 3.
Texas Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event, day 3.
Welcome back to Las Vegas for the conclusion of day 3 of the World Series of Poker main event. The action nonstop inside the Rio. Trash talker Sean Chacon with aces has Surinder Singh with 1 foot out the door.
Matt Flynn, I get Russell Wilson. Tell him I get you could have Tom Brady, I get
Singh flopped 1 pair.
I get the Green Bay quarterback. No! No!
Singh Rivers kings up to stay alive.
Sean Chacon takes it rather well.
I'm Lon McCarron with Norman Chad and Kara Scott's standard cheeky demeanor. Doyle Brunson with chips looking for bracelet number 11.
He once won a bracelet 4 consecutive years before there was electricity.
Greg Merson, the defending champ, still in the hunt.
He's an Orioles fan but wears a Blue Jays jersey. Kids today.
Holland native Dick Van Lyke, the chip leader. Let the Marcel Loos comparisons begin.
Well, Marcel's the Flying Dutchman, but this guy flies helicopters.
861 players left in the main event, fewer than 100 tables. It is a typical leaderboard of early main events, international, less than famous, but no doubt plenty of poker talent out there.
And come November, whoever has all the chips will end up with $8.3 million.
Michael Mizrachi wants a big stack, not so much.
From grinder to grinded.
Max Steinberg has increased his stack nearly 12 times.
I believe you hired someone to do that math for you, Lon.
And Phil Ivey is still in it, nearing $500,000 and on top of his game.
If he plays Phil Ivey poker, he'll be okay, and he knows how to play Phil Ivey poker.
The feature table may be one of the toughest in the room. Tony Gregg, very talented, though with Ivey on his left, he may have some trouble.
You say trouble, I say neutralized. Gregg has 48 big blinds, and Ivey to his immediate left. Sorry, Tony.
And all of a sudden, a once flush grinder below the average.
He's okay in chips, but at this stack table at the moment, he's an also-ran who could get run over.
Phil Hellmuth valeted my car when I came back.
What?
Phil Hellmuth was dressed up in a valet uniform. When I got back from dinner, he was like there to park my car.
The cameras there?
Yeah, and Greg was with me too. They were probably loving it.
We did have some fun with Hellmuth and indeed had him parking cars.
It's like, oh look, a couple of VIPs, Greg Merson, and then he's like, what's your name again? I'm like, oh, you don't know my name?
Phil Hellmuth wouldn't know his parents' names unless they were on his birth certificate.
He should know Tony Gregg's name. Tony took down the one-drop high roller event. 3 chips in play, 500 to 5,000. The blinds at 1,500 and 3,000, 500 chip ante. A raise from Ivey with pocket sevens to 7,500. James Hudson, 9-8 of hearts. And Hudson from Canada. Looks like he wants to play. He calls. Phil Mater, the farmer from Grand Island, Nebraska. It used to be an island, no longer an island. Pocket deuces and a call. On the button, the grinder. Ace tray suited.
How's the grinder going to pass up a suited ace?
No kidding. He makes the call as well. And the Facebook software engineer, Ola Okilola.
Ace-9 suited, why not? It's a party.
He loves the suited cards. He calls for $6,000. Max Steinberg in the big blind.
Getting 10 to 1 on a call.
Nope, he's not going to be there. What a party pooper. 5-way action. Really? Ivey with the best of it right now.
Ivey's not even thinking about this hand right now. He's thinking about the absurdity of Phil Hellmuth parking cars for camera time.
All right, here's our flop. 6, Jack, 6, 2 diamonds. Ola. No pair is no good. He checks. Ivy with the best hand still.
Yeah, when you're Phil Ivey, that's how the flop comes out for pocket sevens against 4 opponents.
Bet of 20,000. Hudson folds. Mater gives up his hand. Grinder now with the flush draw. Stack of yellow for a call. Olaf folds, heads up, Ivy and Grinder.
The two kings with their hearts bent on evil will sit at the same table again and lie to each other, but to no avail because an end will still come at the appointed time.
Again with Daniel, 11-27. Queen of hearts on the turn. Ivy's 2 pairs still best.
I think it's very well expressed.
Ivy checks with the best hand. And that gets Grinder to bet 25,000.
As Rocky says, all right, your hand's not that good, and I can pretend like part of that board hit me.
25.
Yeah, maybe Ivy put Grinder on a hand and feels that is a good board for Michael.
I think the problem for Grinder here is that Phil Ivey figures out these puzzles like he's a Rubik solving a Rubik's Cube.
Grinder, not your everyday main event opponent. And Ivy does give up the hand.
Well, I guess now and then a Rubik can't solve a Rubik's Cube. Everyone's human.
Tough spot for Ivy, but he's made millions doing the right thing in tough spots. Still very healthy in chips.
Big pot. Big pot. It's a start.
Just picked up 50K, not including the other ones.
You got to bluff some.
Well, indeed, it wasn't a huge pot for the Grinder, but he did need that jump start.
What am I doing with quads, you know?
It's not every day that you see 9-time bracelet winner Phil Ivey make the wrong read, but late on day 3 as amateurs and dreamers return to their daily grind, pros are faced with opponents who look like them, other pros. So Norman, now how does the game change?
Why don't you go find a poker professional to ask your question? How would I know? I'll say this, my strong amateur poker intuition tells me that more pros means more pots will be contested. It's going to be tougher to win pots. You'd better continuation bet with conviction. Your check raises better be convincing. It's a pro-eat-pro world out there now. It's going to get bloody. Even Phil Ivey should wear a helmet and pads.
Well, there you see a few of the names of the solid pros still in the field. You always need your A game in this jungle. To an outer table on the left, pro Melanie Weisner turned a flush, but she and Synovio Ramirez, who flopped trips, are drawing dead to the full boat of Brian Applebaum in the black T-shirt on the right. 22-5 from Weisner. The others checked.
What's a small wager? At the Norman Chet School of Poker, we offer crash course bet sizing seminars for all ages.
All in.
Applebaum announces himself all in for 102,500.
Now Ramirez with trip jacks. But how can his hand be good here?
Slams down the fold.
102,500. Yikes.
She's given herself plenty of room to get away from this hand with her small bet.
What you got?
I don't think you're allowed to discuss it.
We can discuss it. We're heads up.
I think they changed the rules about that.
I can't tell you my exact holding, but I can say like I have a flush, which I do.
My rule is never talk to a woman unless you're legally obliged.
I don't know what the rules are.
You can.
Honest to God, I don't know the rules.
You can talk your heads up, and you're already all in, so it doesn't change your action.
Yeah, we can talk.
You can talk.
The dealer is correct.
Does that make sense?
I guess you have king jack or a higher flush, or a jack maybe, just a jack.
She's ruled out a complete bluff, which puts her on the right path.
Oh, well. My next
I think you have king jack or a higher flush.
Either one beats her, and she lays it down.
Well, she found a way to save 80,000 chips there. She's out of my league, Lon.
ESPN.
They want Applebaum to show. He obliges.
ESPN.
You can turn over my hand.
9-7 of diamonds.
8-6-7.
I don't like confirming a woman's intuition there.
Nice pot for Applebaum, but he gave Weisner what she wanted with the peak.
It's better than just like bet full.
I bet the river and you pay it off.
Huh?
Then I bet the river and you pay it off anyway. So
Maybe not.
you're going to lay it down?
I have that feeling. Like, what do you have? You have a jack, or you don't even have a jack.
I was going
You
to
have
say
jack king.
I was going to say 5-4 of hearts.
Oh God! You show me 5-4 hearts, I will eat your shirt.
Melanie Weisner showing a big fold can be just as valuable as a big pot. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by Caesars Casino on Facebook. What happens in Vegas now can go anywhere. It's the banner that can't be missed. Right outside the Amazon room, the commemoration of Greg Merson's 2012 main event championship.
Merson and 3 other Octo-Niners, Russell Thomas, Steve G, and Rob Salaburo, still around here on day 3, hoping to make another improbable run to the main event final table.
Russell also made the main event final table in Australia this year.
Well, whatever he's listening to, I'll have some of that.
Steve G still likes the Raiders in blue hoodies.
He really likes showing that 58-year-olds can hang with the young guns.
Rob Salaburu still doing everything quickly except bust the main event.
He's hoping to dish up another order of huevos rancheros.
And, of course, the man on the banner, Greg Merson, the player anointed poker's ambassador since his remarkable victory.
Being defending champion is pretty cool in a sense that people show you a lot of respect. In tournaments, people are giving me credit and folding, so it definitely helps for my tournament game for sure.
But as all main event champs know, going deep requires a bit of luck, and sometimes you just have someone's number.
All in.
It was in 2012 that Merson busted Wilfried Hierig with a big suck out. The turn card, oh, and Merson with 2 pair. The river card, the 7 of spades. Hierig falls short with the pocket aces. And incredibly, our cameras caught a heads-up hand between Merson and Hierig on day 2 this year, where once again the defending champ eliminated a stun, Hierig hitting a 2-outer on the turn.
Yeah, that's how you busted last year. So I just 2-outed him for keeps in this. That guy's gonna have nightmares about you.
If I'm Wilfried Hierig, I'm just lying face first in a beanbag chair somewhere, trying to sleep off those 2 main event ending bad beats to Greg Merson.
At the secondary table, Merson wakes up with aces after 2 players are already in the pot. Merson in the big blind. Samuel Sahai opened under the gun with ace-king to 6,000. Phil Long with pocket 4s came along.
Of course, Merson cracked Hierig's pocket aces last year, and then this year, when all the chips got into the middle, Merson had a 9% hand and hit it.
Merson with the re-raise to 24,500. Sahai now, Canadian, living in Vancouver.
There are different nicknames for different hands. It bears repeating why some people call ace-king the Anna Kournikova. Looks good, never wins.
Well, Sahai looks like he wants to get busy here.
Sahai's just 21, so young, so much poker pain in front of him.
4-bet to 43,000. Phil Long, now 24-year-old British pro, folds his 4s. Merson now repops it to 76,500.
I'm all in.
Sahai raises, Merson all in.
Cool.
And Greg makes the call with the best starting hand in the game.
Just thought that I didn't want you to like rip 9s or something, so whatever.
I mean, it's a tournament and you have ace-king. Don't feel too bad.
The old man giving the kid a pat on the back.
Here's the flop. All clubs, neither holds a club. A chop is possible.
Merson runs so good, his opponent just went from 6% to knocking him out to less than 1%.
Turn card, king of hearts, that pairs Sahai, but he needs more.
Well, Merson's not running good here. His opponent just went from less than 1% to knock him out to 5%.
The river card now. Merson at risk. The 5 of diamonds and the aces hold up for the champ. And Greg Merson doubles up, sitting with a very respectable chip stack here on day 3, approaching 600,000.
Maryland's never gone back-to-back with national titles, but maybe Maryland can go back-to-back here.
Over 30 years separate their main event titles, both healthy in chips. From Merson to Doyle Brunson, Doyle flopped a gut shot to a king-high straight. His opponent, though, Anders Taylor, is ahead with ace-high and a 10-high gut shot. Taylor checked the flop, as does Doyle. Turn card. 5 of clubs, no help to either player. Taylor still ahead.
Taylor out of position. Doesn't know whether to bet here or ask Doyle if he can borrow his sweater.
They both see a free river card. Jack of hearts. Texas Dolly gets there with a king-high straight and a bet from Taylor, 6,500.
Taylor trying to steal the pot with a value bet bluff. Doyle will return serve with a son, I've got the nuts raise.
And Taylor thinking, oh no, he's going to raise me.
Texas Dolly has pocket lint older than Anders Taylor.
And Doyle Brunson says, let's play a big pot, son. 36,500 total.
I really believe you check back king queen.
Doyle pretends he has bursitis.
Taylor trying to figure out the two-time world champ.
I can't beat much.
Doyle doesn't talk to people 1/6 his age.
Taylor lays it down, and Doyle Brunson will take that pot.
I love that smile.
The past and present of the main event running good here late on day 3 as we continue to roll towards the money and eventually the November 9. $8.3 million to first place, plus that bracelet valued at $500,000. We get a quick look now at Poker Pro Phil Galfond, feared in all formats, but particularly in the online high-stakes cash games. Somar Al Darwich took his turn as chip leader, still has a top 10 stack.
Sunglasses, headphones, hat. Come on, man, just play poker.
And there is Michael Mizrachi, the grinder at the featured table. No headphones, no sunglasses, backwards hat. Back on day 2, we caught up with him for a mic check.
So yeah, I told him it'd be nice. You owe me a pot. At my age, at 32, it's like that you're old for poker. Right now, everyone's like 12 years old playing. If I can just maintain my stack and double it up, I'll be happy. Show the kings. Let me see that one. Mic check. Oh, nice to meet you. He's definitely my nemesis, yes. Try one more time. He takes 10K, I get him for 1K. Dominated. Mic check. Nice catch. Get it back now. Good river card for me. It's good flop for me. Bad turn card for you. I swear to God, I flopped it straight. At a full house. At a full house. Mic check, mic check. I'm looking forward to a deep run. This has been a mic check with Michael the Grinder Mizrachi. See y'all later and good luck. Are those for sale too?
Yes.
Nobody wants a rose, right?
Grinder talks the talk, and eventually his cards speak volumes.
9 tray of clubs, a raise from Grinder.
Oh, we used to have the wild card hand. Tonight we bring you the don't try this at home hand. 9 tray open raise.
Ola with a suited Jack-8 makes the call.
Mizrachi and brothers Robert, Eric, and Danny all cashed the 2010 main event. 4 siblings in the money in a field of 7,300. Every time I say that, I think I'm making it up.
It was impressive indeed. Heads up, Mizrachi and Ola. Ola would be shocked to know that he's ahead right now unless he's seen Grinder play. 6-8-7-1 heart. Mizrachi open-ended. Ola with top pair. He's still ahead.
We got 2 players here who can't wear their baseball caps straight. How come Eminem doesn't play the main event?
10,000 from Grinder, 10,000 from Ola. Deuce of diamonds on the turn. Mizrachi misses. But he keeps firing, 25K.
Grinder with the double barrel. I wouldn't try that at home. I mean, Mizrachi keeps rolling down the middle of the highway and just figures his opponent's going to jump off the road.
That's the Grinder way, and there's a call from Ola. The pro and the amateur, the river card now. 5 of hearts, and Grinder gets there with the straight on the river.
That's how the Grinder rolls. Raise pre-flop with the worst of it, bet the flop with the worst of it, bet the turn with the worst of it, and then get there on the river.
He says 80,000, big bet. Is that suspiciously big?
Yeah, the Grinder betting it big, hoping Ola thinks he missed the flush. The Facebook software engineer trying to figure it all out. Good luck.
Ola checking the board. What can he beat? Doesn't look happy about it. Does lay it down, and Grinder will take that pot.
You know, I think the Grinder works out to keep in shape, dragging in pots.
Michael grinds Ola's chip stack down further. His losses are taking a bigger and bigger percentage of his stack.
Michael Mizrachi, 3 bracelets, 32 World Series cashes.
Once with a dominating chip stack in this main event, now trying to play his way back into contention on day 3.
Phil Ivey actually still thinking about Phil Hellmuth parking cars.
All right, back to the secondary table and the rising chip stack of Greg Merson, nearly 600,000 right now, the most at this table. Folded around to Merson, hoping to start a real estate business one of these days. Ace Jack.
Merson says he wants to be known as one of the hardest workers in poker. Says he has to get the most out of his abilities because he's not as gifted as other players.
Merson with a raise to 6,000.
Merson says his biggest edge in poker is playing cash games.
Button folds over to Bruno Lopez, French artist, rapper, poker player, Queen 10 of hearts, and he calls.
He is known as Cool Shen, part of the hip-hop group NTM.
And for some silly reason, I love Queen 10 suited. I know it's a leak, but I like it.
That's a big leak.
Trey, King, Jack. Lopez open-ended with a flush draw. He checks it to Merson, who caught middle pair. And he checks. Tray of diamonds. Lopez still looking to make his hand, bets 10,000.
Merson says he is not a bracelet chaser, prefers making money at cash games. He was in Macau most of this World Series chasing that cash.
Merson now with jacks up. It is the best hand, 25,000.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Lopez re-raises all in.
Wow. Lopez making a play here. Merson might appreciate. And don't try this at home unless you don't mind semi-bluff shoving against your mother.
So now Merson wondering what this guy is up to.
Well, for Greg to call here, it would be for just under 20% of his stack. Merson certainly not going to give Lopez credit for having a tray in his hand.
A nice pot for the taking, thinking Greg Merson here. He can recover if he's beat. I'm sure he's thinking that too. He does make the call to put Lopez at risk. Greg ahead, but Lopez with a lot of outs.
Yeah, Lopez with 16 ways out of this all-in jam. Terrific call there, though, by Merson. The champ knows what he's doing, except for the jersey.
So Greg Merson in line to pick up this nice pot and knock off a player here late on day 3. And the river card is the 6 of hearts, a winner for Lopez on the river as his flush comes in.
We saw Merson in 2012 handle these beats matter-of-factly.
With that double up, Lopez's stack a bit above average now. Merson still healthy, but that would have been a nice pot to have. Greg losing almost a quarter of his stack. Well, the result was not what Greg Merson wanted, but the call has to give him confidence. He was right up to, well, almost the end. Merson still with chips deep on day 3. Back inside the Rio, where the recently departed Phil Hellmuth has come back to talk to Mark Kroon, his buddy.
I was in there. They asked me a lot of questions about you. I said nothing about great, classy. I love your place. They had stories about us playing in the old days.
Yeah, they asked me. I talked a lot about all the charity stuff you did, and also
yeah, we talked about hospice care
and all that. I thought it was. I wish it had had a little better ending, but we were both getting up the final table.
Hey, if one of us makes it, that's enough.
Thanks, brother.
Seems like you're in a good space right now.
Yeah.
With some free time on his hands, we thought Phil might want to look into some other career options.
Sorry.
The Rio said, hey, Phil, we'd like you to go and run the poker valet. What's your last name? All right, now what's your name? Help me find where the spot is. The trickiest thing about the valet is you have to run fast to increase your tip size. So, I happen to bring some shoes. I'll use them to be a valet. What's up, boys? Show me how to do it. Welcome to the Rio. Would you like me to park your car? $1. Oh, that's okay. Any tip is great. Thank you. Well, good luck to you today.
Yeah, buddy.
I have a tip for you. You get to keep that. Okay, 524. I have it marked. Mastering a new craft is always a pleasure. I have crashed a car in this parking lot before. How you doing? Pretty good. Can I park your car? Ooh, making money. I love it. I love it. All right, we're getting good at this. This job's not so bad. So where's the real money at? I ran as fast as I could. Look at this. There's VIPs here. It's Greg Merson, the reigning world champion. Ooh, $5 tip. Ooh, I like this.
Let me get 5 back, actually.
Good luck, guys. Oh my God, I have to park your car? This is the guy that beat me every pot today. This is so sick.
Thank you.
Good luck in there.
Cheers.
Number 615, Elder. This isn't so hard. You guys waiting for a car?
Please, Phil Hellmuth parking cars? He can't even spell valet. And what we didn't show is that none of those guys got their cars back because the poker brat crashed every single one of them.
Max Steinberg and Phil Ivey with the most chips at this table, the featured table. Ivey is the under-the-gun player. Phil Ivey looking for bracelet number 10, main event number 1. Pocket trays. A raise to 7,500.
One of Ivey's homes is in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. He has his own chef on staff there, like he can't make Honey Nut Cheerios on his own.
To Ola. Looks down at ace-queen. Not suited, but playable unless your name is Norman Chad.
Ha!
That's a call of 7,500. Steinberg with pocket tens.
His twin brother, Danny, also a fine poker player. You know, I prefer when Max is dressed to kill with a nice shirt and necktie. This is slumming it too much.
World Series bracelet winner last year, shooting for his first main event cash. Calls from the cutoff. James Weeks suited 4-5 into the muck. Rabinovich folds to the big blind. Tony Gregg, queen 8 of clubs.
Getting 7-1 on a call here. He's a bargain hunter.
And that's what he does. 4 players will see this flop. This is an action table. Here's the flop. Tray 10 ace. Steinberg with middle set. Ivy with bottom set. Gregg missed and he checks.
Gregg will be spared any bloodshed on this one, but that flop is the deadliest catch for Ivy.
16,000 is the bet with the 3 trays from Ivy. Ola now with top pair and a queen kicker, but only a 1% chance.
Yeah, as usual, ace-queen in a heap of trouble here. This is the 3rd straight year the amateur has played the main event.
Ola putting some chips together. Ola with a raise to 41,000. Now Steinberg with way the best of it.
What a great spot for Max. He's got to figure someone's got an ace or maybe someone has a spade draw. His decision here is whether to slow play or announce himself.
Exactly. Does he want to clear the field or just kind of coax them along?
It looks like he wants to jump.
Yeah, it does indeed. Ivy bet 16,000. Ola raised it, and now Steinberg with the best hand just calls.
Well, with that call, Max disguises his hand as either a draw or just an ace.
Tony Gregg folded. Now Ivy with the set.
And Ivy's got to be loving this spot too. A set of 3s is best here most of the time.
But not against the set of 10s.
Right now, Phil trying to size up a 3-bet here.
It's tough enough playing heads up. You get a 3rd player involved, and it makes things that much more difficult. Ola with the raise, Steinberg with the call.
All in.
Ivy announces all in.
That I didn't expect.
Oh my goodness.
But Ivy wants to drive out any draws, or maybe he's over-betting here to make it look like he's just got a drawing hand trying to induce an ace to call him.
Now Ola with top pair.
Ow.
The amateur has to know he's in over his head. And folds.
I call.
And of course a call from Steinberg.
Have a set.
Ivy at risk and way behind.
You got me covered, don't you?
Yeah, he's got you covered. This is stunning. Ivy was cruising along 140 big blinds to begin the hand, and now he's staring at going bust. Only a 1-outer saves him.
Got psyched out for this part, this bet before.
Ivy was thinking he'd be one of the chip leaders. Now he's hoping he doesn't have to get his car from Phil Hellmuth.
The worst of beats. Turn card. 5 of spades, no good for Ivy.
Ivy down to 1 card, and only 1 card saves him. He has to have the last tray in the deck or his main event is over.
Steinberg on the threshold of a monster knockout and nearly doubling up himself. The queen means the end of Phil Ivy in this main event.
What a knockout blow Max Steinberg just delivered. And I think Ivy is shell-shocked.
As is everyone who witnessed it and all the players at this table. The main event can be cruel in an indiscriminate nature. Phil Ivy gone. Amazing, and Max Steinberg over 1 million is the new chip leader.
It's hard being you, huh?
It's hard. It's hard to stack all these chips, James.
Phil Mader and Ivy had a nice rivalry building. That's gone. The grinder now has the biggest stack in the room on his left. Ivy out in brutal fashion.
Have a set.
So many good things happened over grueling days of play, and all wiped out in the matter of minutes. Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. Chad Holloway was the lucky Poker News journalist who won the Casino Employees event for nearly $85,000.
Maybe the achievement of my life, to be validated with a bracelet. As a player, not necessarily as a reporter.
The 5K 8-handed no-limit hold'em bracelet was awarded to Trevor Pope, who won the massive first prize of over $500,000.
There's really no feelings to describe it. Like, I'm sure I'll set it eventually, but it's a very good feeling.
Also winning nearly $500,000 was Charles Sylvester, champion of the 1K No Limit Hold'em re-entry event.
I'm feeling great. Just won the bracelet, pretty fast heads up, and all my friends here to cheer with me, so it's amazing.
Past world champ Jonathan Duhamel in the middle of that winner's photo. 2001 world champ Carlos Mortensen on the left just turned top pair, top kicker, but he can't beat the king high straight held by Matthew Elsorelli, who just bet almost half the pot, and Carlos calls. All right, river card now. Carlos Mortensen drawing dead. Deuce of hearts on the river.
That deuce changes nothing, Lon, as usual.
Well, no card would be helpful to Carlos. He was already drawing dead.
Thank you, Mr. Rain on my parade. Jeez.
Mortensen checked. Elsorelli now. Says, maybe I can get 62,000 out of the former world champ.
Carlos with top pair, top kicker, getting 3-1 on a call here, which means if you're just right 1 out of 3 times in this spot, you're breaking even.
Unless you're busting.
Good point.
And there is a call, and Elsorelli shows the best hand.
And Carlos had to call off half his stack on the river. He's now down to under 20 big blinds.
Yeah, Carlos is frustrated. He knew he didn't have the nuts, but did the board have to be that good for his opponent? A big blow to the Matador, who could not stay out of harm's way. As you mentioned, down to 19 big blinds, boosting Elsorelli's stack by over 40%. You want to know more about your favorite poker players? Maybe the Matador? Head over to ESPN.com/poker. Back to the Phil Ivey-less featured table. Action on Ola. Under the gun with ace-5 of clubs. And he says Ola to suited non-connectors. 8,000 is the raise. And it's time now for a new feature this World Series of Poker season. We call it White Magic with Phil Hellmuth, a.k.a. What Would Phil Do?
Tony Gregg, your one-drop champion, great player, but he has 91,000 this spot. That's 30 big blinds. The big blind is 3,000. I don't like to see someone risk 30 big blinds with ace-queen. It's just too easy to go broke out of a tournament. It's too much money. 30 big blinds is too much to put in. So I'd like to see him re-raise it, maybe to 5 big blinds, that's 15,000, maybe to 6 big blinds, that's 18,000, and then he has the option of folding if someone else shows super strength. Why put your whole tournament on the line when you have a lot of time to work your chips?
So with White Magic each week, Phil will give his view of what a player should do in a particular spot. I'm not sure Greg is going to take advice from a guy who parked his car today.
Well, Tony Gregg does decide to move all in.
What a surprise, a respected young poker pro doing exactly the opposite of what the Poker Brat says.
And it's pocket kings for Yuri Zivaleski. Those could have been Ivy's kings.
No, I guess in this spot, Greg wanted to isolate the amateur Ola, but part of the risk here is someone else waking up with a big hand.
Zivaleski, poker pro from Brazil.
Yuri trying to sell a tough decision, perhaps hoping for more action behind him.
And that is just a call for 91,000. Can he induce more action behind? Hudson folds a button. Mater in the small blind gives it up. Grinder in the big blind folds.
So the question is, do I want to triple up or do I want to go home?
What?
Do I want to triple up or do I want to go home?
You're not going to triple up if you call this. You're going to go home.
Ola with a weak suited ace.
You could triple up and go home too.
Well, not immediately.
Giving this a lot of thought.
You can leave tonight, come back in the morning.
It's 91.
All right.
This is very sick. I don't even know why I'm thinking about this.
We've seen Ola make some nice laydowns. This should be an easy one.
Are the 49ers paying him for airtime? You can get rid of it, Ola.
I don't know why I'm thinking about this.
What was that?
He does fold.
It's 5 o'clock. It's triple up or go home. Yeah, that's what I was scared of.
Really?
No, I don't mind the ace queen.
They mock the Poker Brat, but he knows of what he speaks. Tony Gregg now at risk and behind with ace queen.
I would have called it with ace 5 heads up. I was like,
all right, here's the flop. Gregg at risk. 4, tray 8, small board. Kings way ahead.
And remember, Ola told the table he mucked an ace, so only 2 of them left to save Greg.
Turn card, another 8, no help for Greg.
Tony Greig has to have an ace, and an ace only, or he is wamboozled.
The river card, the jack of diamonds. Zivulevsky picks up a very nice welcome gift and knocks out Tony Greig.
It's Greg's turn to get his car back from the valet bracket.
Zivulevsky with a very successful day 3 so far.
You gain fortune to lose fame. Is it worth it? You gain fortune to lose fame. Was that worth it?
It will be a long walk back to the valet for Tony Greig.
Day 3 action has been fast and furious. We started today with more than 1,700 players. Now 4 levels in, less than 800 remain. Some of the notables that fell under the poker axe: 13-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner Phil Hellmuth. We also lost Phil Ivey from our feature table in a set-over-set situation against Max Steinberg. And poker pro Jean-Robert Belland. He came in near the top of the chip stacks, but then ran kings into aces. Another player that people have been keeping their eye on is the current champ, Greg Merson. He's had kind of a roller coaster day. I spoke to him earlier, and he said that playing this year with all the extra media attention is actually a bit of a challenge for him. I've been watching, and on every level break, journalists are coming and whisking him away for interviews, and he doesn't really get any break time except for when he's sitting at the table.
Greg's table now the featured table here for the rest of the night. His story becoming one of the bigger ones here in 2013. And it seems like one of our live broadcast announce partners is out. Phil Galfond saying his farewell short of the money. Taking the last of Phil's chips, Canadian Marc-Etienne McLaughlin, who inflates his stack to $664,000. He has 2 top 100 finishes in the last 4 main events.
McLaughlin, good friends with 2010 main event champion Jonathan Duhamel.
Elsewhere, the former featured table lineup, now an outer table, but we haven't forgotten about them. Phil Mater with pocket queens open for $11,000. To his immediate left, Grinder holding 10 deuce of clubs.
60.
And true to himself, not folding, actually raising. And Mater 4 bets to $60,000 now.
Well, earlier on day 3, we saw Mizrachi trying to push Mater around. Once again, Mater plays back at Mizrachi, and the farmer should. He's got the better hand. And the Grinder is caught fishing without a pole.
Michael Mizrachi makes his money trying to push players around, but he's getting pushed back. And the Grinder shows 1 and folds.
No, Mizrachi showed a 10. Mater showed a queen. Queen beats a 10.
Farmer Phil over $300,000, now slightly above the chip average in the room.
I should be calling. Can we call him? Huh?
Button right up.
Not liking it, but
I have no idea.
Just 684 remain late here on day 3. 648 will make the money, so we're getting close to the money bubble. Good look at one-time chip leader Dick Van Lyke. Combination of some run good and some good play. Have him in the top 10. Van Lyke looking for his first World Series cash.
Van Lyke was playing golf with his wife the morning of one of the day 1s in the main event and thought, what the heck, let me give it a shot. The Antwerp, Belgium resident started playing poker 5 years ago when he bought a home in Las Vegas.
Van Lyke involved pre-flop with pocket 10s, just re-raised Åge Ravine to $33,000. Ravine, a Norwegian pro, way behind with 10-9 of spades.
Ravine, 27 years old, cashed at a World Series event last year.
So Van Lyke's 4-bet is called by Ravine. $72,000 in the pot.
Van Lyke comes to Las Vegas every 2 months for a week or 2.
Years ago, he sold his medical-based company and now free to do whatever he wants. Here is the flop. 4, 5, jack, 1 spade. Van Lyke still best, 10-1 favorite. He bets $30,000.
Ravine flopped hot desert air.
He makes the call nonetheless.
Designs of stealing this baby later, I guess.
All right, the pot gets bigger. Turn card now. Another 5, 2 pair now for Van Lyke. And when you get called, you start having second thoughts. $20,000 only this time.
I'm sorry, did he just bet $20,000 into a pot of 132? He's one of the big stacks. He should act like it, for goodness sakes.
Ravine drawing dead and still reaching for chips. And he raises to 50,000.
See, you open the door for lunacy. You just crack that door open an inch, and the aggro-maniacs are going to storm the castle and trying to steal all your castle flatware.
Now Van Lyck, trying to consider the validity of that raise, does make the call. 8 of hearts on the river.
Well, now I would just check. Your hand has showdown value, or maybe you can let Ravine bluff at it again, and then you make your decision.
He does check, perhaps befuddled by Ravine's actions. And now Ravine bluffs at it for 100 grand. And a quick call from Van Lyck.
Well, he's got 10 high line.
And Ravine will have to hand it over.
I think Van Lyck knew what he was doing there. I was the clueless one.
It's a pair of 10s and 5s are good.
I keep the green chips.
Oh my God.
How can you call there?
Ravine can't believe he was caught in the castle without a castle pass.
I thought he had bigger than 10.
And Dick doesn't just like that bluff, he Van loves it. And the former chip leader is working to regain his lofty status. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by the official WSOP social game. Download now on Facebook or your smartphone. Tables continuing to break late here on day 3. Players being moved to other tables, including Carlos Mortensen, one of 3 former main event champs still left in the field.
The other pros have a great regard for Carlos. The 01 main event champ selectively aggressive and just picks his spots well.
And on Carlos's left in the ball cap, the 06 main event runner-up Paul Wasika at that table. Back to our former featured table, pre-flop Max Steinberg re-raised to 30K with ace-king against Michael Mizrachi, the original raiser holding. Please cover your children's ears. 5 tray off suit, but when Grinder puts chips in a pot, he's tough to get rid of, and he makes the call.
Well, seeing Max here reminds me, Lon, I want to take the rest of the hand off to silently mourn the passing of Phil Ivey from this main event.
Careful, sometimes when you leave, nobody notices.
Good for you.
Here's the flop, 7-5 queen. There you go. Grinder gets the best of it with a pair of 5s. He checks to Steinberg, who paid to take control of the flop.
What I like about Max and his twin brother Danny, they both say the other is better.
Half the pot, 35,000 from Steinberg.
I don't think Danny would have made that continuation bet there, and I don't think Danny ever calls with Jack high.
Don't start any family feuds.
Mizrachi will tell you flatly he's a better player than any of his brothers.
Grinder with the best hand. With bottom pair, he makes the call. Turn card now, another 7. Grinder now enjoys a 4-1 advantage with 2 pair.
At the 2010 main event, Grinder was 5th. Brother Robert was 116th. Brother Danny was 345th. And brother Eric 718th. All 4 brothers in the money. Call me when that happens again.
Small bet from Grinder, 25,000.
25 into a pot of 140? Do you really want 2 overs hanging around? You're giving Max Steinberg a sweet price to keep playing. About 7-1, and he's only a 4-1 dog. Grinder will rue the day he made that bet, Lon.
And as an aside, you notice when these guys are away from the lights of the feature table, they just look like regular poker players. A call from Steinberg.
Grinder ruined it already.
River card, 8 of diamonds. Steinberg missed the entire way, and Grinder is best.
Okay, so the Grinder's not ruin anything. Actually, he probably can start counting his chips up in this pot.
He does check, happy with the size of the pot. Now Steinberg. He checks.
5.
Max Steinberg couldn't pull the trigger on a bluff there.
5s and 7s will scoop the pot of nearly 200,000 for Michael Mizrachi.
I'd like to be the Grinder for a day, or frankly, Max Steinberg.
A tremendously profitable day for Steinberg. For Grinder, down slightly, but he is a survivor. Your chip leader going into day 4 will be 23-year-old Max Coleman of Wichita, Kansas. Well done, Max.
And of course, if you're a chip leader under 30, you get standard issue iPhone earbuds.
And how about the Octo Niners? Russell Thomas creating a nice story for himself on to day 4.
How come there hasn't been a rush of actuaries into the main event with this guy's success?
Brad Ritchie, Alan Cunningham, Marcel Lusk survived the day, as did pro Melanie Weisner. And Dick Van Lyke is a lot closer to his first ever World Series cash. End of day 3. Just 666 players remain. Only Max Coleman over $1 million.
Max Steinberg in third, largely with Phil Ivey chips. He'd better use them wisely.
Melanie Weisner now with some end-of-day thoughts.
I played a great game today. I got absolute max value in a lot of spots where I feel like a lot of other people wouldn't have. I made a couple of really big laydowns and was shown I was right. So it's such a good feeling when like everything's kind of going your way card-wise and you feel like you're playing to the utmost of your capabilities. So I really was pleased today. I had a great table and I ran okay. So.
In the set-over-set heard round the poker world, Max Steinberg announced himself to the 2013 main event.
Holy, you got me covered, don't you?
Yeah. It's hard to stack all these chips, James.
Ivy's fall headlined a day 3 that saw defending champ Greg Merson survive, but his close friend Tony Gregg falls short of the money.
How can you call there?
No! 3 days gone, 4 days till we have our November 9. Next order of business, the money bubble. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.